Herzlich willkommen bei Scotia Spirit zum Online-Tasting, heute Nachmittag oder schon am frühen Abend. Und dies ist der Start einer neuen Reihe von Online-Tastings, die wir ab jetzt regelmäßig anbieten. Ein Online-Tasting heute mit dem Titel Experten zu Gast bei Scotia Spirit. Dieses Thema findet ab jetzt circa einmal im Monat statt. Außerdem starten wir auch bald mit dem neuen Angebot Peter on the Road. Dabei findet ihr Tastings, bei denen ich mich an irgendeinem verrückten Ort befinde und spannende Menschen treffe und mit ihnen gemeinsam Whiskys verkoste. Und dann haben wir noch eine dritte Variante, Peter's Choice Hybrid Tasting. Das ist ein klassisches Tasting von mir hier in Scotia Spirit, das aber auch parallel aufgezeichnet wird und live gestreamt wird ins Netz via YouTube. Das heißt, ihr könnt sowohl vor Ort als auch hier online dabei sein. Auch heute sind wir hybrid. Das heißt, wir haben Gäste hier vor Ort, als auch Gäste am Monitor zu Hause. Und wir haben einen Gast aus Schottland dabei. Wir starten heute mit Mark von Morrison Distillers, einem Unternehmen, mit dem wir jetzt schon seit vielen Jahren sehr, sehr gut zusammenarbeiten, von denen wir tolle Whiskys bekommen haben. Und wir werden heute einen kleinen Überblick euch geben, was es Neues von Morrison gibt. Dieses Format, Experten zu Gast bei Scotia Spirit, findet immer donnerstags statt und dauert auch etwas weniger lang als ein klassisches Tasting. Das heißt, wir haben 4 Whiskys, etwa 1 Stunde. Und auch das Peter's Choice on the Road wird immer nur so etwa 1 Stunde dauern und ebenfalls donnerstags stattfinden. Alle Termine findet ihr übrigens auf unserer Homepage www.scotiaspirit.de, aber die kennt ihr bestimmt auch schon. Und dann würde ich sagen, lassen wir doch einfach mal unseren Gast dazu. A warm welcome to Mark from Scotland, from Perthshire. Welcome, Mark. Good to have you here.
Hi, Peter. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here. Really excited about us getting stuck into some delicious whiskies today.
How are you doing with this nice weather in Scotland? Only some white clouds I can see.
As you can see, spring is on its way, which is really exciting. And in fact, we were talking earlier this week about us making plans for sowing the new barley at Netherton Farm, which you can see behind me, for our Aberargie distillery. So no, the weather is getting better by Scottish standards.
Yeah, also we have a very warm, had a very warm spring in the last days. It was already 20 degrees or above, and we are looking forward to a fantastic summer.
Yes, yes, excellent.
By the way, my background that you can see here, this is the new tasted Scotch whiskey bar. We opened it just 2 weeks ago, and we have more than 500 whiskies open there, and a lot of the bottles are new at the moment because we just opened the bar. And yeah, a lot of whiskey fans wanted to have more opportunity to drink whiskeys and sitting in our couch. So we said, okay, let's extend the bar, extend the opening times and the varieties of whiskeys. And as you mentioned earlier, a lot of them are from Morrison's.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can see all the Mac-Talla, Islay Malt whiskey behind you. Congratulations. That's a great opportunity for the whiskey community in Cologne. Excellent.
Thank you. Thank you. And what news do you have from Morrison Distilleries? Morrison Distillers. There's only one distillery.
It's wow, we have a lot of news. I mean, it's been a really exciting start to the year with the launch of our Aberargie distillery. And we're going to be sharing a glass of that today and talking about it. But we've also had some exciting new releases. So our Mac-Talla PX 2.0 limited edition, which we're going to sample as well. So there's been, exciting new products, a lot of hard work, and also some great traveling as well. So the team are really busy in Europe and the UK.
That sounds all good. And already this year, the year is not very old now. It's 3 months. We had some astonishing good new releases from Morrison here in Germany, and I thought that was so great this year, the first month, that we decided to do the first expert from Scotland at Scotia Spirit tasting online with you, because we have at least 4 whiskies that we would share with everybody.
Wonderful, thank you. And I forgot we're actually starting the tasting with the Kleinlich, which is exclusive for Germany, and that's also something kind of reasonably new as well. So yeah, lots of fun things.
Yeah, the first whiskey tonight is the Kleinlich, and it's quite rare to find Kleinlich independent bottled. For a while, I didn't see, maybe a couple of years, I didn't see any new releases. There were only the once in a year special release from Diageo, but quite pricey also. And then I got the information at the beginning of the year, there's one coming from Morrison's. And as I drank it first time, we were here in construction, the bar was changed, and Thomas Blauer came in. It was a coincidence as we tried it. You know Thomas from Schlumberger.
Yes.
And he hadn't tried it at that time. So we tried it together, and both of us said, wow, what a whiskey. That's Kleinlich as its best. How did you get this wonderful cask?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is a classic Kleinlich, and we were fortunate enough to get this from Diageo, of course. With the Morrisons' extensive industry relationships, we were able to get some really good quality and interesting juice. And this was sort of handpicked by Mr. Kamenici at Schlumberger, and it really is super bright. It's on the label says that it is a bourbon hogshead, but in fact it is a first fill bourbon hogshead, and that's what brings a lot of the vibrance and color to the liquid. So a single cask at 55.6% alcohol, and 2014 vintage, so a nice 11-year-old single malt whiskey. And true to form, it's got that sort of beeswax. It's got that honey that you would expect from Kleinlich.
Exactly, yeah.
Something a little bit more interesting as well, I was chatting to Graham, our production director, and he was explaining to me how the majority of hogsheads are typically refill. I think over 60% at least. So it's unusual to obviously have a first fill hogshead opposed to a first fill barrel. And he said sort of Diageo's process is to, as we understand it, not actually shave the staves down. So when they get bundled and sent over and then rebuilt, but into a hogshead, adding the extra staves, because they haven't shaved the sides of the barrel, the cask is usually a little bit leaky. So as we can tell, for an 11-year-old to be at 55% is quite low on ABV. So that's an indication there. But what it's doing is it's allowing for more interaction with the air, more oxidization, which is driving sort of the flavor development from a maturity perspective. And even inside of the first fill hogshead, there's more wood exposure on the insides between the staves. So that's why we've got a really juicy, generous whiskey in our glass here right now. I thought that was quite interesting from a behind the scenes process perspective from the wood.
Slange.
Mm.
Yeah, it's this this texture of waxy texture, nearly like runny honey,
Yeah.
which stays on your tongue for a while.
It does. Really coats the whole mouth. Yeah,
Little fun fact about the waxy character is that I have been to a Spirit of Space Festival at the end of the pandemic. So it was a festival mostly only with some experts and no international guests because of the time. And I met a group of distillers, and some of them came from Kleinlich Distillery. And they were shocked because they told me the waxy character is gone. And they didn't know why. And they dived into that. They tried to find out what happened. Why is the character not waxy anymore? Not that intense waxy anymore that it was before. And they found out that during the pandemic, the distillery was closed for a while, and someone cleaned the inside of the pots. So the pots of the stills more than they usually clean it. And they noticed after cleaning the inside, the waxy character wasn't that intense anymore as it used to be. Yeah. And after a while, of course, it was building up again. Yes. And maybe if you look at that was maybe 2022 or something. So if you look forward to 2032, don't be astonished when you see a special release from Diageo, like Kleinlich Unwaxy special version.
Exactly. I love that though. I mean, it's a bit sad to hear that happened, but I mean, this is the joy of the whiskey industry. All these quirks and all these mistakes, which often become really interesting things to taste. So yeah, great story. Great story. No, delicious.
Yeah, I really like that whiskey, and we had it in some tastings here at Scotia Spirit, and everybody loved it. It's yeah, it's like do you know this Tasmanian honey? It's a very sweet,
expensive honey.
Expensive, sweet, yes, and really nice. It's nearly like Manuka, and I get this Tasmanian honey, by the way, from Scotland, from Heather Hills, which is in Perthshire, not far from you.
Yeah, wonderful.
Heather Hills Farms, and they get it from Tasmania, but they put it in glasses, and I only get it from them, and it reminds me to this whiskey. Yeah. And yeah, interesting. Now I'm telling this story. It's a coincidence that the bees are quite close to Morrison's.
Well, when you come and visit, I'm going to give you some of the honey from the bees from our farm, from Netherton Farm.
We you do also bee farming?
Well, we use natural honey in our Brewdar whiskey liqueur. So our Brewdar honey and slowberry whiskey liqueur, we use the honey from the bees on the farm. So I can get a pot of that for you, and you can compare it to the other honey from Perthshire.
Ah, fantastic! I would love to do that. I'm a big fan of honey.
Great.
But you didn't add some honey in this whiskey, no?
No.
No, I'm just joking. I'm joking. I know you don't. But the taste is going in this direction. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, it really is great. Really is great. So yeah, a really good, if people want to understand what's Kleinlich, what's the hype about, what can we expect, having this in the glass is perfect for them to discover it.
Okay, so and you do bee farming, and of course you farm your own barley, and this barley is used in your own distillery too, right?
That's correct. That's correct. So. The Morrison family is a 5-generation whiskey family. The team that manage the business, including myself, we've got collectively over a century of experience in the whiskey industry. And what we have learned and what time has taught us is that If you're looking for independence, autonomy, and quality, the best way to do that is to have control. So, you know, on our farm behind me at Aberargie, we do as much as we can, and that includes, you know, growing and harvesting the barley that we then distill at Aberargie Distillery on the farm with our local Victorian well water source, through to filling and maturing casks on our 2 warehouses on the farm, then vatting and blending the single malts for our portfolio of products in warehouse 1, and then bottling it all in our bespoke bottling line, and then actually keeping the finished case goods on the farm until they're ready to send out to Germany and the rest of the world. It's really important for us to do as much as we can ourselves to achieve our vision for each product and to have that high quality. This might be a great opportunity to actually show you what that looks like with a little video that we had made for the launch of Aberargie.
Fantastic, yes.
Great.
Let's see that.
All in good time, in our own way, under one roof, all for the love of whisky. At Aberargie, we start with the land, shaped by Scotland, sustained by patience, and respected by those who work it. In the fields in front of our stills, our barley grows. Tradition leads. 5 generations of experience guides. Precision and patience follows. Here, transformation begins, where flavour takes its first breath. Distilled slowly, deliberately, every decision made with intention. And then we wait. Years pass, the whisky deepens, oak and spirit find their balance. For our inaugural single malt, only the right moment would do. No shortcuts, no compromise, just the journey captured. From barley to bottle, this is Aberargie, and this is just the beginning.
Great.
Fantastic video, and very rare to find a distiller in Scotland that's doing everything themselves, including the bottling at the end. So we can trust on the quality, of course, then.
Absolutely, it is unique. I think it's obviously the new generation of distillers mindset, which I think is really great for the whiskey community. And you know, as you would have seen from the video, there was a lot of hands moving in that video. It's a very hands-on operation, specifically with regards to the distillery. Apart from one control panel with a couple of lights on it, the team really are working with their hands. So it is about using experience. It is about being very present and paying close attention to what we're doing from a production perspective. And hopefully that all translates through to the quality of what's in the glass as well. So yeah, established in 2017. We've been very quietly working on the family farm barley to bottle single malt whiskey, which we've recently launched. And yeah, there is a sense of sort of tradition behind it. Some really strong lessons and decisions made based on the history of the family and the experience of the team and the people behind the business. And we wanted the inaugural release to be something that really showcased and celebrated what our principles are with regards to whiskey making. So I won't keep you. We can raise a glass as I tell you about it, but essentially the inaugural release, which is sitting in the bottle at 48.2%, is a combination of the 4 pillars of Aberargie. So we have Golden Promise Heritage Barley, we have Laureate Barley, we have those matured in first full bourbon and first full sherry, and essentially that is the combination of what we're having here today. And on the back label, for those who are able to still get their hands on a bottle, you will see that it describes that it's 52% Golden Promise barley and 48% Laureate barley, and a balance of 50% first full sherry maturation and 50% first full bourbon maturation, as you're showcasing on the label there. So we're trying to share some transparency with regards to production, because we think it's important people understand why we have chosen those things. So firstly, on the barley side, Golden Promise Heritage Barley is incredibly well respected and prized by distillers, dating back to the 1960s, when big brands really built their businesses on the quality. We know that this has great structure. It has great sort of mouthfeel character as well, bit of oiliness to it. It's really substantial, and we're looking for a substantial whiskey. We grow that on the Netherton farm behind me, where our business is based in Aberargie. And we balance that with Laureate barley, which is a little bit more contemporary. It's quite bright and fresh and clean, fruity style of new make. And that works really well to balance out the structured, heavier style of the Golden Promise. And the Laureate is grown on two of the other Morrison barley farms. So again, everything is family farmed. So we're bringing those two worlds together from a production, but also from a flavor perspective. And then everything has gone into first full bourbon and sherry. So we're getting some really generous flavors coming from the wood type as well. So a combination of PX and Oloroso, and then obviously bourbon. And we've sourced both directly from Jerez and from Kentucky as well. So for me, on the nose, we've got some fantastic baked apple, followed by some lovely sultanas as well, and some great depth, and a wonderful preview of what to expect from a complexity on the palate as well. Slunge. And now we've got the orchard fruits starting to burst out. Really vibrant, but again, some really good depth as well. And for me, it just keeps building and building. Very approachable, very drinkable, very juicy, little bit of spice, delivering our vision of, great quality single malt for regular drinking, something you can keep returning to. And I think we're getting the benefit of all those four different production pillars in the glass. What do you think, Peter? Sorry, Peter, can you hear me okay? I missed your audio there, actually. I can't hear you now, no.
Fantastic whiskey. We
Ah,
here the mic.
there we go.
That's
Your
off, yeah.
audio has just come back. Perfect.
So you hear me?
Yeah, I didn't hear anything that you said earlier. Apologies
Okay.
for
I
that.
said really. Okay, the mic was dead. No, not our mic. The guy who works here. Just the microphone is dead. And yeah, maybe that was intentional because I said so bad things about this whiskey.
I don't believe it.
Kidding. No, what I said is that this whiskey is an inaugural release, and for me, one of the best, maybe the best inaugural I ever had. And
Wow.
inaugurals quite often are whiskeys where you can get that they're a little younger. But this one, I don't know how old it is. It is series built 2017. For me, on the tongue, on the texture of the whiskey and in the nose, it seems to be even older than it can be, because the series only built 9 years ago. So it's it feels like it was very long in the cask. Maybe there were extremely high-end casks that you used. You get this typical Jerez style with the plums and the sultans, not too much spices, and definitely I get a lot of the barley in the nose and also on the tongue, which makes this whiskey a unique style whiskey.
That's very kind of you to say. Very, very kind of you to say. With all your experience and yeah, wow, that's a very generous compliment for the team. And it's interesting what you say about the cask types. The casks, we sort of paid a premium to actually have the casks shipped whole, particularly non-rinsed or steamed from America. So there's been quite a significant investment in getting the right wood to give the whiskey the best opportunity. But yeah, this is, you know, I say 2017 established. So we've got some very mature sort of spirit in the glass, and that definitely benefits sort of what we're offering. And it just speaks to this whole patience of, you know, we could have gone earlier, but we felt that there's a lot of value in being patient, and this is the reward that we're getting from that.
Since a while, since a couple of years, we have so many new distilleries on market, and we get the new first releases. And nowadays, I realize people sitting in a tasting and saying, "Oh wow, another new distillery." So they're not that interested anymore than maybe 10 years ago. Of course, there were so many new distilleries. This came this year. I had it in a couple of tastings. After the tastings, they asked me for more bottles than I had. It went so fast. The quality is so good. Everybody was very pleased with it, which brings me to the question: how many more bottles are on the way to here?
That is a very good question. So we've actually sent the last few bottles to Germany a couple of weeks ago. So it'll be coming to an absolute end very, very soon. I'm delighted that I was able to find a few more bottles to send over, because we sent a fair bit the first time around, and it was just inhaled enthusiastically by the whiskey community in Germany, completely exceeding our expectations. So we've got a few more bottles coming, but then it'll be gone. But we'll have something exciting coming towards the end of the year as well, to keep things alive, and it'll kind of allow us to take a closer look at these sort of these production pillars regarding barley and wood. So yeah, we've been really humbled by the reception of Aberargie, particularly in Germany, but certainly Europe-wide in the UK as well.
Can you tell me more what we can expect at the end of the year?
Yes, I mean, so we've got these four building blocks: the Laureate, the Golden Promise, and then the Sherry and the Bourbon maturation. So what we want to do between sort of September and February next year is we want to have some bottles that shine a spotlight on each of those, just to help people understand our decision making, and also what's interesting about Golden Promise and how that compares to Laureate barley, and similarly with the wood types. So we've got that in play at the moment, and we'll be able to share a little bit more detail closer to the time. But we've got a really strong vision as to what things look like for the next 18 months and what we want to sort of deliver to the whiskey community. Really exciting.
And I have a fun question or technical question. This is a new bottle. Maybe I show this here. This is a new bottle, and you can see here a little kind of a seal.
Yes.
And this is a little one on the seal.
Yes.
Here you can see it, a little one on the seal. And to open the bottle, I need to get that away, and then I can open it. So tell me more about this. Is there an idea behind the seal?
Yes. No, great. Yeah, there is.
It's
so
unusual. I never saw that.
Yeah, so we wanted to have something just a little bit special on the inaugural release, just to sort of enhance it. So obviously the one indicates it's the first ever edition from Aberargie, and it does a couple of jobs. First of all, it's something which actually the German team named as the drip catcher. So when you're pouring, it's got a functional use there. But ideally, it's something that you'll take off and you'll, use as a key ring or something like that. We've had some interesting ideas around how it can be used. Just something to take away and remember the bottle, because from what we're seeing, people are finishing the bottles pretty quickly. In fact, I finished one on the weekend with my friends at home. And it's nice to have something to keep afterwards. So yeah, a little touch from the Morrison family and the team.
Will there be a number 2 on the next bottling?
Possibly not. No, I think it's something that we did just for the inaugural release.
Okay, fantastic. It's a nice little gadget, but people will remember it when they open the bottle first time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. So it's as I said, a wonderful inaugural release of Aberargie, and I'm very much looking forward to see the distillery. I didn't see it yet.
Yes.
And as we said before, we talked before that we might see us during the year at the distillery, and we'll have a chance to look around and see what you do.
Absolutely. And when you visit, you'll notice that the shape of the still house is replicated with the shape of our label. And on the packaging, you'll also see a gold representation of the shape of the still house as well. But some people might be wondering what the sort of the wavy line across the label in gold is, which is also replicated on the carton. We call that our horizon line. So when you're visiting us and you stand on the Netherton farm at Aberargie, if you look around you 360 degrees, you'll see the top of the Perthshire Hills, and that's what we've captured on the carton and the label as well, just to provide a bit of a sense of place. And that's something, that horizon line is unique to when you're standing on the farm and you're looking around you at the beautiful surroundings.
Fantastic. That's a nice idea. So well done for this whiskey. We're looking forward to get maybe a couple of bottles of that, but mostly we're looking forward to the next one done during the year or end of the year. But Morrison Distillers is not only Aberargie Distillery or Càrn. Morrisons are doing also a lot of blended malts, and we know the old Perth range since years. I think as I started with this whiskey shop 13 years ago, I already had Old Perth here. And at that time, Old Perth was just one blended malt, when I remember right. But now you have a very large variety of blended malts from Old Perth, different sherry casks, wine casks, and the quality increased so much. And that was the reason that I thought, let's have one of the Old Perth tonight, especially the one with my favorite sherry cask.
Ah, very good. You have interesting taste. Palo Cortado, wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. So the business has had Old Perth for a number of years. And originally the brand dates back to sort of 1908 with Peter Thompson, and was originally a blended whiskey. And during sort of our time looking after Old Perth, we had all manner of bottlings, from bourbon to sherry to red wine, peated, vintages, and as part of the next stage of the Morrison business and the establishment of Morrison Scotch Whisky Distillers, we wanted to give Old Perth just a little bit of focus. And in sort of considering what was the most appealing and interesting bottlings of Old Perth historically, it was definitely the sherry matured Old Perth and the vintages. So we rebranded and refocused things with a focus on 100% sherry maturation. And our core range is predominantly Oloroso and PX orientated, with the original, the cask strength, the double sherry wood, and the 12-year-old. But we like to introduce new sherry styles to keep the conversation alive. So the Palo Cortado is certainly something really interesting and unique. It's a pleasure to be sharing it with someone like yourself, who is a fan of Palo Cortado.
Very often you get with Palo Cortado finishes or maturation this sweet nut flavor, and here I right away can get it. Candied nuts.
Yes.
Very typical for Palo Cortado finish. I really like that, and together with it some fruit.
Yes.
And it comes with, you don't get it in the nose. It's 55.8%.
Yes. No, you don't get it on the nose as well. So it's beautifully integrated. And it's a very fragrant sort of honeysuckle nose, which sort of speaks to the lighter side of the Palo Cortado, which is obviously a bit of a hybrid, a bit of a mistake as far as sherry style. So we've got the benefit of sort of a fragrant nose, sort of a Mac-Talla style nose, but then on the palate we're going to get something which leans more towards Oloroso, some good structure and body. Cheers.
Cheers. So tell me, this whiskey was blended malt that's then together finished in Palo Cortado, or different ones that are finished in different Palo Cortados?
Yes.
After a couple of whiskeys, it's difficult to speak.
Indeed. So what Graham, our production director and head of whiskey creation, wanted to do was to find some spirit, some single malt that would really shine in Palo Cortado casks. So he selected single malts that would typically go into our Old Perth Original and cask strength recipe, but single malts that were from distilleries that use worm tub condensers, which lend themselves to more of a savory, nutty style of spirit. So he selected some casks, some Oloroso casks of single malt from those distillery profiles, and then put them into first of all Palo Cortado to support their showcase of that sherry maturation style.
Palo Cortado roughly translates, I don't know English exactly, but a broken stick. In German, very often is said, durchgestrichener Strich oder gebrochener Stock. What means that Palo Cortado is a sherry that you don't do intentionally. It just happens if you get the oxygen to the wine earlier than you expected, which makes the wine quite rare. And you don't find it that much in Spain, and you don't find the casks quite often. And they are quite expensive, aren't they?
They are. My understanding is that it's only 1% to 2% of all sherry production is Palo Cortado, so it's very small volume and therefore for rare. And yes, I mean essentially you've got sort of a pheno under a floor of yeast, which then starts to get oxidized because that floor ceiling breaks, either due to the situation with the cask or the wine, and that oxidization then starts to build some of the Oloroso style. So super interesting. And it's just adding some great character to this Speyside single malt composition.
So that's, you said Speyside distilleries. So we are a little bit closer to the question, what's in it? Speyside, but still, Speyside is quite big.
It is.
What can you tell us more about the distilleries, or is that complicated?
It's complicated to be specific. I mean, what I can say is that Old Perth is centered around Speyside single malts. I think we can all recognize the Speyside distilleries that make spirit that lends itself to good sherry maturation, because of course we're buying a combination of mature stock as well as new make, which we're then taking control of. And for the original and the double wood and the cask strength, they benefit from our Solera maturation system in Warehouse 1 at Aberargie, and that includes use of the original liquid, which we keep in refill casks. We put that back in every time we produce more of the core range for that consistency. And it also includes some liquid that's sitting in some 70-year-old traditional bodega sherry butts. That's like the soy sauce, which we add in. And then we're adding in some new mature stock as well from Speyside. So yeah, we're trying to replicate the sherry making process with original liquid always in, adding in new, drawing out the oldest. So yeah, Speyside sourced sort of juice that we're working quite heavily with, and then we're trying to get creative and showcase new sherry styles, which is what we have here today with the Palo Cortado.
We have a range of Old Perth at the moment in the shop, vintages, also a lot of different finishes, like Manzanilla, Palo Cortado, Pedro Jimenez. Anything what we can expect during the year from Old Perth?
Absolutely. I'm incredibly excited for what's coming in May, June. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it's something that we've had before, which was incredibly well received by quite specifically the German community. So we're going to be repeating something with a new recipe that I know will get people really excited. And yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I did a tasting together with Thomas Blauer, and the name was Three Keepers Tasting. We usually do that at Center's Day, so Nikolaustag in Germany, the 6th of December. And 3 keepers come together and do tasting. And this year we had a fantastic Old Perth. It was not a Solera. Please help me again. Which one was the other one?
The Bodega.
The Bodega, exactly. And
yes,
people loved it. It was sold out in minutes.
Yes, so that was the Palo Cortado, the Oloroso, and the PX combination. Really, really good liquid. I think just over 1,000 bottles were produced globally. So a lovely project to kind of, again, showcase Graham and the team's skills with blending and bringing different cask types together. Yeah, really lovely liquid.
And the Germans love their sherry cask matured whiskies, don't they?
Absolutely. So yeah, no, always a pleasure to introduce something new from Old Perth. We'll hopefully have a vintage as well towards the end of the year. The 2009 vintage did incredibly well. Again, I keep on saying everything does particularly well in Germany, but I think it's the team are doing great work there, and our partners like yourselves are doing great work to share what we're producing. So yeah, we'll have something from Old Perth in sort of May, June, and then hopefully a vintage towards the end of the year as well.
Fantastic, good to hear. And so let's look into the peated side of Morrison Distillers. And
yes.
peat is not new to Morrison's. I remember that I started with whiskey in my life, maybe, let's say 25 years ago or a little bit more, as I dived into malt whiskeys. And at that time, I was one of the biggest fans of Morrison Distillers. But that was a different time. It was a time as I had my Bowmore whiskeys, and I loved my Bowmore whiskeys. And at that time, the distillery was owned by the Morrisons, and it was for me #1 dram. But then, a couple of years later, it changed because the Morrisons had to sell the distillery, and unfortunately, the style of the distillery changed completely. And now, since years, I don't have that many Bowmores anymore because the new style is not my cup of tea so much. But once a while, I get the Mac-Tallas. And whatever distillery it is, we know it is a distillery from the Space side, a whole range of Mac-Tallas. Sometimes I think I can spot an old style Bowmore, but whatever. All the whiskeys from Mac-Talla they are fantastic. So I'm a big fan now of the whole range. And can you tell us more about this new, quite wide range of Mac-Talla whiskies?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So the Morrison family have a very long-standing relationship with Islay, going right back to Jamie Morrison's great-grandfather. But it was Jamie's grandfather, Stanley, who purchased Bowmore in the 1960s. And the family operated Bowmore from the 1960s to the 1990s, with Jamie's father, Brian, being the managing director. And Brian actually facilitated the sale to what was then Suntory in 1994, which was a huge success in the whiskey industry and obviously for the Morrison family. But we created Mac-Talla coming on for 5-6 years ago, by way of reintroducing the Morrison family to Islay, or reconnecting, I should rather say. And the concept is to really showcase diversity. Jamie really wants people to appreciate the variety of flavors. I think a lot of people think that Islay single malt is just one thing, it's just big peat. But as we know, there's a lot going on across the different distilleries. And I think the wonderful opportunity for the team and I is to be sort of, I guess, ambassadors for the whole island and all that it offers. So the Mac-Talla range is going to, from a core range perspective, showcase different varieties. So Terra is the classic Islay style. The Flora bottling is floral, lightly peated. My personal favorite, Mara, is it's a lively cask strength single malt whiskey. And as the name suggests, Mara, it's maritime and coastal. And then the 15-year-old Strata is beautifully layered and complex, just like the rock formations on the island. And then, of course, we continue this journey of taste by introducing new things. So you've got some fantastic limited editions on there, like the Virgin Oak from last year. We've just launched the PX and a second version of that, which we'll talk about shortly. But then, of course, we've got a very special bottling there, the Lighthouse Edition, which is only available at our Lighthouse partners across Europe and the UK. So in Germany, we've got, I think now 9 Lighthouse partners. And of course, Peter, you are one of our partners, which is always a pleasure to work with you. So that's why you've got that fantastic great bottle there. So there's quite a lot going on. There we are. Thank you. But essentially, we're using the family's experience, the team's experience and knowledge of Islay single malt whiskey. We're using our close relationships with the different distilleries on Islay that have been developed over decades. And we're sourcing the best single malts, whether it's mature or new make, for us to work with and produce our products. So, you know, there's lots of different distilleries that we work with. It's not just one a particular distillery. And that means people are always guessing and trying to discover, you know, where the spirit is coming from, but we can't say. In your glass, we've got the annual release for this year, the PX. This is actually the second. That's right. This is the second edition. So we had a PX a few years ago. It was actually an official Fezile bottling, and it was our first trip to Islay as a team, as a Mac-Talla team. And we were delighted. It was voted product launch of the year. Got a fantastic silver medal at the Scotch Whisky Awards. So when we thought about what we were going to do this year, we thought, well, let's maybe bring something back which we know has really strong interest for the whiskey community. But this is, of course, a completely different recipe.
As said before, the Germans like their sherry cask matured whiskies. And this one is a very heavy influence of the sherry cask, the Pedro Jimenez cask that you have.
Yeah.
Get a lot of sweetness in your nose, but still dry ash.
Yes. Yeah. And really approachable. I mean, just under 53% alcohol, but you wouldn't expect it to be anything over 50% at all. With the nose, really, really approachable. For me, the peat, the smoke is quite soft and easy.
Slange.
Slange.
It's an easy drinkable peated whiskey. Yes, you have your peat, your Islay peat, but also a lot of influence from the cask, the sherry, sweet sherry.
Absolutely. This is all, so this is first full PX butts that Graham has worked with. The new make was hand selected and matured entirely under our control at Aberargie. And some nice refill PX as well, just to bring it into balance. For me, in comparison to the first edition that we did, the first edition was quite bold. It was a great intense PX expression of Islay single malt. I love the way that this is really fruity and approachable and accessible, quite juicy, and yeah, I think this is going to go down incredibly well in Germany and the rest of the world.
Yeah, definitely. We are already nearly sold out. Some bottles are left, but not many. It's going fast. And since we have the wide range of Mac-Tallas here, more and more peat geeks are looking for the bottles, especially also of the limited ones, like the Lighthouse, which is here, the Lighthouse 24, the first one. And we're glad to be a lighthouse. Thank you for making us a lighthouse. And if someone asks how are the lighthouse whiskies made, it's a selection of different casks, and the casks are getting selected by oh, nobody sees me. Maybe I can go here. No problem at all. I'm flexible.
It's towards the end of the tasting. Good catch.
That's the lighthouse here, and
Yeah.
the casks are getting selected by the lighthouses in Germany. We have, you said, 7 or 9 lighthouses in Germany, all over Germany. And the experts from the different lighthouses are getting the samples from Perth, from you. And
Yes.
then we all sample them. We sit together digitally. So in a Zoom tasting, we sit together, sample them, and then we together decide what casks and in which scale we use for the new Lighthouse edition. And so the last one was made and very well received here in Germany. And I think the new date is soon. It's in a couple of weeks. There's a new date to do the 2026 version, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, no, absolutely. No, the Lighthouse program is it's a wonderful partnership because we get to connect in a very genuine way with retailers and bars where the managers and the owners have a lot of experience and a lot of passion. And these are really special destinations where people can go and get phenomenal liquid beyond our own, some fantastic whiskies, just looking at the shelf behind you. And they can get some really passionate and informed conversation from the people. So it's a real privilege for us to have our whiskies sort of considered and selected by this really special audience of people, and it's a pleasure to be able to also give them something which they're the only people to have. So yeah, we've now finalized the date for the selection process for 2026, and I was chatting with Graham yesterday about what we're going to be presenting you. It's something quite new that we haven't done before, and yeah, I'm really excited to have that event with everyone.
Anything else that we can expect during the year from the Mac-Talla range? Something new?
So let me think. So we've launched the PX. We'll have the limited edition. There will be something for Fazile, which again will be something new for us. The first time we've done something like this from a liquid and cask perspective. So that'll be coming out sort of May as well, May, June. So that'll be an interesting one. So yeah, it's a very full year, and look forward to hearing what you and your community think about what we're introducing.
At the beginning of the year, we had the German Fairs edition or Messe Edition.
Oh, the red wine special,
which was a fantastic whiskey. It was so ashy on the tongue, dry, but still you got some of the beautiful red fruits from the Bordeaux cast. I think it was a Bordeaux cast. So that was really something for the geeks, maybe intentionally selected by Andrea for
Yes.
the fairs, for the German fairs.
Yes, that's right. So we launched that at the Village down in Nuremberg, yeah, really well received. A great edition. You know, the first red wine, the first limited edition we ever did for Mac-Talla as a brand was a red wine edition, and that was voted best Islay single malt whiskey non-age statement at the Scotch Whisky Awards, which was incredibly humbling. Really took us by surprise as a new brand. So we knew that we were working with some good wood. It was great to revisit that as a topic for something exclusive for Germany and for the festivals. So yeah, if anyone is going to any festivals and Schlimberg is there, you have to go and try it. It'll be the only place you can try it and buy a bottle of it.
This is not 100% accurate because we have it here in the bar. You can try it here.
Oh, do you?
Yes, we do. And we
Fantastic.
might have some bottles in the basement. Not many, but some we have left. But especially you can drink it here in the bar because this is a new tasted whiskey bar. You find everything here to try. That was our idea to open this new bar.
Yes.
To get people the opportunity to try even the things that you can't get anywhere else. Or if you can't make it to a fair, come here, try it. If you don't know where to get a new release of whatever, come here and try it. If you think a €1,000 worth bottle is tricky to buy before you know how it is, come here, we have it open. So that's the idea of the new bar, Taste It. So
Great.
it's just started 2 weeks ago.
I love it. So there's no excuse now. People can just come along and they can have a glass with you. Yeah, that's a wonderful idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, excellent.
Fantastic. So Mark, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon and sharing with us the fantastic drams we had. I think we could talk for hours. We could drink for hours, bottlings from Morrison. But that should be enough for today for drams. And that was also the first of the new release guests at Scotia Spirit hybrid online tastings. So I hope you liked it, and I hope you come back next time when we have our next guest for the next variety of whiskies. Today was a fantastic start, and I have to say a big thank you to Mark, who supported us with his time, with the fantastic drams. And I'm looking forward to see you again in Cologne for a tasting, and of course at the distillery in Perth.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, what a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and congratulations on the new concept. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll see you at Aberargie.
Fantastic. So, thank you. See you. Bye-bye. Und bis zum nächsten Mal bei Scotia Spirit in der Whisky Bar oder zum nächsten Online-Hybrid-Tasting. Slange. Slange. Slange.